everything's new and I don't like it. Okay. I think I'm just going to check stability while on this view. Probably my gain is too low, so I'm going to just increase that. I have a new audio interface. So, and why is there a weird feedback? I don't like it. I don't know where it's coming from. Okay, maybe at least in terms of levels, it should be okay. Let's lower this. Oh, okay. Oh, there is a speaker turned on. Okay, that makes sense. And you know, in the 15 seconds it took me to swap the PSU, a bug of some kind bit me on my hand. Okay, so the level should be okay now. Next thing will be there needs to be a sync offset set because I had a hardware failure here. Let's see. Oh, I didn't actually have an offset set. That's surprising. Because I used to have like 250 milliseconds or something. Let me quickly try to import that. This is my rig, by the way. Let's. I don't have any space anymore. Why is everything so hard? Ah, here's my 5G time. My 5G settings. Okay, so that's working at least. How would I know about? So I ran all of Computex without an audio offset. Have OBS fixed something? Like I don't know. There's something I'm not understanding here at all. But that's okay. Hey, benchmark. Anyway, so people ask for Waza, so I'm giving them Waza. Some people don't like. I'm trying to think what. Okay, maybe I should go into BIOS for just a second. I'm trying to think in what ways Waza can fail. Okay, so there's something with okay, sorry, but okay, I'll fill you in both ears in a minute. Thanks for letting me know, Sevi. What I'll do is I'll just make it mono for now. Okay, it should now be better. Okay. Man. Okay. Claw machine Taipei. I don't get that reference. I know Vince had a claw machine. Oh, because the first one failed. Okay, so originally, my streaming rig would just be on a benching SATA SSD, and it worked fine. But it meant I had one fewer benching SSDs than I could have. So at some point, I had the bright idea of putting it onto an M.2, thinking, well, this is like mature technology now. It's been around for like 15 years or whatever. Let me put it was like it was on special. It was like 35 Aussie dollars. Like it was like the price of a cocktail in New York. Was this 1 TB Kingston SSD? I thought like Kingston, that's gonna be great. And I put that into the streaming rig, and I was happy because I had a 240 gig SATA SSD left over to then have as an additional benching SSD. It all sort of makes sense, right? But about 2 weeks ago, the fucking thing failed. Like I don't know, like I suppose I should be grateful because it it failed in such a way that I could still, with a lot of difficulty, get the data off. But all that well, get the data off is probably too strong of a term to use. Get the data that I really needed off. Um, but along, like, with all of that happening, and me not bringing my streaming rig to Taipei, I now sort of have two OBSs, and I kind of have to like remember to set up everything the same way it used to be. And one of the things is this mono combining of the microphone. I think I have a mono button on here as well. I don't know. I shouldn't mess with that because there's actual so-called phantom power buttons on here. If I press those, then the mic might blow. So, uh, great design. Um, so things like scenes are fine, but like encoder settings, I don't really remember because I had to screw around with those in Taipei. So I was using iGPU encoding on my laptop, but I've always done CPU encoding um, on this bench rig, or sorry, on this M80X streaming rig, and it's also sort of on its way out. So I'm not like, I'm in this twixt in between kind of thing where it's like I'm not building the new streaming rig like tomorrow, so the current one has to work, but I don't really want to sink time into it. And okay, all that to say, there's just certain settings in OBS you can it's called a scene collection. You can export a scene collection. I do have an export of it somewhere, but like I just haven't sort of found, like, I just haven't imported it basically. So one of the things was this mic, because these audio interfaces, that by default they want you to kind of run multiple mics and have them mixed in with each other, like one in the right ear, one in the left ear. So then by default, if there's only one mic connected and actually receiving signal, it'll give you only one channel. So I've now just quickly flipped it to mono. I hope that's okay. I hope the levels are okay. I hope there isn't too much audio delay, because I remember having, way back before my drive failed, having something like 250 milliseconds of delay configured in OBS. Now I'm running zero delay. And apparently for all 24 hours of streaming in Taipei, I also ran zero delay and people didn't complain. I just feel like that's wrong because my cameras have HDMI lag, but my mic doesn't have signal lag, so it can't be synced right now. Let's go. Let's give it 100. Was it plus or minus? I think it was plus. I think the way OBS specifies this is the amount of delay you are giving the audio, and since the video, like, just by pure physics is going to be slower than the audio, you would always give it a plus delay. So I've not now just given it plus 100 milliseconds. Okay, I should probably go to the browser and do I have kit.co here? Kit, yeah, okay. So there's a lot of new things in my system right now. I don't know why I have this. Yeah, whatever. This should be allowed. Why is it not allowed? Okay, so I used to just have this camera. Now I have, well, I used to just have two of these. Now I additionally have this one, which is the one I rented in Taipei. And I liked a lot. Why is this pop-up coming up? Come on. I get it. I've been on this site like 50 million times before. Okay, so I rented this, was happy with it. Now I have that for my face cam. This is unchanged. These are the same two cameras that I had in addition to this camera in Taipei. I got like a really wide camera lens for like really cheap, and I'm experimenting with it. I don't know exactly what I'm going to sort of need it for, but here it is. Like, this camera position is probably about 40 centimeters away from me, but still it's somehow capturing the entire room because it's order move to the top. It's just so wide angled So that's that lens. Then I this lens I already had. This is the face cam lens. This is like spare right now. I'm not using it right now. This I already had. I got a 2x macro, which is really cool. Like for really close up stuff. If I ever do like soldering or whatever on stream. So that's new. I got that for really cheap. This is the mic I've always been using, but I have a second one now for like guests and stuff. I brought it to Taipei, but I never ended up using it because it was just so chaotic out there. Yeah, I'm still waiting on a new light. Is my pointer showing? What? Huh. I had to like focus on the window. That's weird. The arm is what the face cam is on. Yeah, face cam. You can't. Can you? Why is it so choppy? Yeah, a lot of moving pieces. Oh, the stand for my mic is new, and I can't like make it low enough. But it's probably better for the audio. Like visually, I kind of hate it being this high, but in terms of the audio, it's probably better this way. Yes, this is a totally new camera. Same lens as before, but I haven't like messed with it yet. Okay. Yeah, tripod the same. Oh, and I had a really expensive tripod head seize up on me. It's an Arca Swiss. If anyone's ever heard of Arca Swiss, that's what I use for my photography. It's like embarrassingly expensive. Can I find it? Arca Swiss. It'll probably be on here. Not a cube. Cubes are even more insane. What I've got is like the. Okay, I'll search for it in my email. Why is the manufacturer themselves not showcasing? Okay, let's go B&H. Now I'm curious. Where would it even be under? Not the $1,800 one, but it would be like kind of in that ballpark. No, I'm joking. It's not a quick release. It's not the flip lock. It's not a ball head. Have they discontinued it? It's not a cube. Weird, eh? It's like essentially this without the ball part of it. Oh, it's not that. Come on. Oh. No, it's not a pan head like that. It's not this. Wow, you don't realize how many different models there are of something until you try to find something again. Those are all spare parts. Oh, pretty much. Yeah, it's like $1,000 gear like geared tripod head. It's like serious stuff. It's not a $3,000 one like the one you just saw, but like so. It's like super accurate, super well, like dampened and smoothed and everything, and all the movements still work on it, and all of like you can like triple rotate it, like you can like rotate the entire head, and then you can rotate just the camera plate and stuff. Like it's really cool. That's why I have it, and it's like super lightweight. It'll hold my big cameras, like my 5 kilo cameras and stuff. But what's happened is, in storage apparently, see how it's got all these like tilts and shit? It's amazing. I love it, except for the fact that it now doesn't work anymore. Is there a better picture of it? My God, like B&H is usually super good on this kind of stuff, and now it's like crapping the bed. I actually don't know if this is the exact model, but like that style of model. Come on, give me images, please. So I guess this is kind of a good view of it. This is a different like top to it, but it's the same principle. So it's really, really fucking stupid, right? This one movement, like the clamp that keeps the camera safe in the head, the most important clamp. If the other knobs like wore out, you would just have a loose tripod head, but it wouldn't really be the end of the world. But the one movement that keeps the base plate of the camera and therefore the camera in the tripod head has seized up open. Maybe being seized closed wouldn't be like a massive, like you might be able to work around it, but it's seized up open. I believe they have lifetime warranties, but it's a Swiss piece of, you know, it's going to take some time to get it to Australia and all that. I was going to say a rant over, but that's really just the beginning of the rant. Anyway, and I bought a new capture card as well. So here you see the Magewell and the USB capture cards and the Blackmagic Quad HDMI 4K. I bought Chinesium. It was, am I signing in or I'll have to look up the model on the other rig and then just copy paste the link. I don't want to sign in on this rig. So it's a Unisheen. God bless, a shared clipboard between two systems that are only connected via Ethernet indirectly. So I've got one of these capture cards now, which I'm testing. So I'm doing, it was sort of acting up a little bit for rig capture, which is okay because I just wanted for camera capture anyway, for the purposes of next year's Computex. But basically just to do a quick run through, this is still being captured with my Magewell, which is amazing, which I've used for rig capture forever. It's just the absolute best. This is on the Unisheen. Obviously this is just a browser. This camera's on the Unisheen, and this camera's on the Unisheen. So I'm currently using 3 of the 4 inputs, just as a little bit of a stress test type thing. Just it was funny. Hey Zorak. Yeah, so the funny thing was, apparently the capture card is so new that it's not even listed on the official website, which made me think that I was just being scammed or something. But I contacted them through the official website, and nothing happened. Then I contacted the seller, which on AliExpress very often is the manufacturer, or not very often, but like a good deal of the time. And they were like just instant. They're like, "Oh, sorry, sir. Here's a really dodgy Google Drive link to the driver." I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I need the driver, otherwise I can't use this card. So yeah, all's well that ends well. I now have the ability, certainly in my MATX, to capture 9 inputs internally, which is kind of insane to think about. Now, in terms of what I actually have here right now, I have 6 cameras, like six mirrorless. Like obviously I could like pull a rabbit out of a hat and like, I don't know, like find a webcam somewhere or something. But in terms of cameras that I'm like happy with the quality, and like they have interchangeable lenses and therefore, you know, they're really flexible, I've got 6. So I've got a GH5S, 2 GH5s, 2 G7s, and a GH2, believe it or not. It works fine. So that would account for 6 of the 9 inputs. Then I could still internally capture 3 competitors' rigs. That's kind of the idea. But then I can still add USB capture cards. Can I? Oh, my build is actually public because I sent it to Matt. So I could just, without signing in, where is it? show you the PC part picker I've put together. This is all Aussie dollars. Before someone gets their knickers in a twist, it's oh no, it is Aussie dollars. So you'll just have to convert it. I can't show what is it? The K31 case, is that what it's called? No. Okay, let's go through my order history again just to complete the picture. Let's search for a case. Wow. The K39. This price will be off because I bought this a couple of years ago. So in terms of cases, this won't even be the exact same K39 because they've, you know how it is with just Chinesium, like they just reuse the same name. But anyway, it's like a 4-liter case or something. That's not on PC Part Picker, so it's not on my build here. I'll put the build link in the chat as well. Which reminds me, the chat needs to, I don't know, I'll have to sort it out off stream. So just imagine a really tiny mini ITX case along with this. So I already have an 8500G that I was using for iGPU and IMC stuff. That's just something I have lying around, so that's why I'm building a build around it. I'm hoping to get this X870. Why is there so much scroll? What's wrong? Because this is a new Windows install. I'm also like, what the hell are all these things? No, one screen at a time. Is this better? Kind of. So yeah, the nice thing here is 2 USB-C, but I do question like how they've done it recently in boards, especially at ITX, where like they're just relying on DisplayPort via USB-C, which I don't have a problem with. But then you need like 3, 4, 6 USB-Cs. You like 2 is still, some of them have 1, which is just insanely low. But 2 is like very, very borderline, because if I want 2 external screens and 2 capture cards, then I have to start daisy chaining and stuff. Yeah, not ideal. The Strix has like all the ports in the world, but it's so expensive. So that chip, that board, some Corsair RAM I have lying around from the Corsair Invitational from like 4 years ago or something. So 2x16. I don't think this is the actual SKU. The SPD says 6200C 36 Vengeance, but that doesn't mean that this is the, you know how Corsair loves to just reuse names and trick people into buying certain bad RAM. Since Kingston is out, I'll never buy another M.2 from Kingston. A Silicon Power 1/4 terabytes, nice and cheap. Yeah, so what happened with the Kingston was it yeah, you could still read the drive, but it had like really slow transfer speeds, and all transfers would die after like 2 gigabytes. So I had to, in order to get my data off before I could wipe it for the RMA, I had to like install a Windows subsystem for Linux, and then like use DD to transfer exactly X bytes, and then use offsets to transfer the rest of the file like in a loop, and then reconstruct it on the other end. It was all kinds of fun. Win 11 obviously, because Win 10 is going out, you know, by the time I build this rig, Win 10 will be end of life most likely, and my existing ultra wide display, I don't think anything's missing here. Well, my capture cards, but I don't think PC Part Picker really has the support for that necessarily. Yeah, so that's all the new stuff, but let's go to the kit.co. These are the capture cards that saved my ass in Taiwan. Amazing. Competitors' rigs were running off of that, and it was so smooth and so seamless. And is the Ulanzi clamp that held up the stage camera upside down. It was just a sight to see. Right, in terms of actual benching, let's just make sure that my bot is working. The bot should be working, but yes. So here's the bot. Just need to move this around. So yeah, I'm on the team group quad kit. Yeah, bias capture is tricky in general. I've been through probably around. Hey Matt, I've been through probably around 6 or 7 capture cards by now. Elgato, I don't. I'm sorry, but I don't rate Elgato at all. I mean, they're not the absolute junk tier, but they're like second class. So Elgato's Stream Deck, which I have a new one of, used to be a 6-button one. This is a 15-button one, and I only have 6 assigned currently because I have to think about what to put on the other 9 buttons. But Stream Decks are amazing. Key lights, which I don't have one yet. I'm looking forward to because they have integration with the Stream Deck, so that's amazing apparently. But the capture cards are second rate, cheap off eBay. Well, I have a Blackmagic quad HDMI. Why would you need a quad though? Like, are you gonna run multiple cameras and stuff? Because that's what I use mine for. If you're just trying to cap a single rig, this Magewell is amazing. Like, it's like a pro level. 2 cams, 2 rigs. Yeah. Okay. Like, if you can afford it, Magewell is just amazing. But other than that, Blackmagic, yeah. My tier list would basically be, well, it depends on if you want internal or external, right? Because external, these J creates. Oh my! Let's see what they go for in US dollars. This is Australian dollars. B&H would be US dollars. Yes, I want to proceed. Yeah, okay, $200, and it's a dual input that lets you switch using hard buttons. So yeah, USB-C, flawless. Like, USB capture cards have a bad name, and 7 years ago when I started streaming, that was warranted. Now I almost feel like USB capture cards are like maybe even better in some ways. So yeah, I would say God tier is Magewell and J-Create. Second tier is Blackmagic, and then like a big gap, and third tier is Elgato and Avermedia. I don't have experience with, I think ROG has a capture card and stuff. And TBD on this Chinese one. What is it called again? I've already forgotten. That I'm currently using. I mean, I'm seeing a bit of like choppiness and stuff, but that could just be because my rig is like on the way out. Unisheen. Okay, so TBD on the Unisheen. They make nice stuff. This happens to be a quad HDMI 4K 30 card, which is amazing because I never stream in over 30 hertz. Like, to give you an idea though, like, you do pay for it as well. Like, the Blackmagic in Aussie dollars. So the Unisheen was 400 in Aussie dollars. I think the Blackmagic is like 750 in Aussie dollars. And then if you wanted, I think Elgato make a quad, but I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. But Magewell make a quad, and it's only full HD. It's not even 4K, and it's like $1,500 US dollars or something. It's just It's just. Let's just go there. I think it's called the Video Guys Australia, something like that. I think they have the Magewell capture card. Sort by most expensive. I mean, even this, right? Like 2.6K. So this is the Aussie pricing, right? Like, the Blackmagic is 850. What do you even get for that? Like, what's the 2 HDMI, 1 USB? Okay, where did I see the Magewell? Magewell 4K, dual 4K is the most expensive that they make. Currently unavailable, but this is the card. Rubber Monkey? I saw it on some Aussie shop. Yeah, there we go. 4.6k Australian. Oh, that's SDI though. So 4.2k for the. This is not like that's what it's got dual in the name because it's got loopback. So it's only two inputs and then two pass throughs. Sorry, is what I meant to say. So like yeah, Magewell gets expensive quick. No, I don't want to join your fucking mailing list. So yeah, if you want advice on capture cards, I just know way too much about them because I've been binning them. But yeah, I would seriously consider the J Creates and then Black. If you can find Black Magic Quad, you know what? It's not amazing for rig capture, but it's like middle of the road for rig capture. But if I have on occasion run 4 cameras into it, and that was nice. That was working. What kind of cameras do you have? Mirrorless, I'm guessing. Okay, so in terms of the actual benching, um, here's my black edition. I have a second black edition now. Thankfully, I picked one up at a dodgy cash only e-scrap type place. So it's got the true quad Sammy kit in it right now. I will eventually move on to PSC, I guess, but this is just ease of use. It's got the best out of 3 4930Ks that came from AliExpress, but still a very bad chip. That's kind of it. A display out card and chillers currently set to probably too high of a temperature to pass. Here's the bias. I'm not on a non-retail bias, unlike RM. Let me actually chill her down to something reasonable. So this is the 5G setting that I settled on. You know, like the RAM is obviously a bit low, but it's just like trying to balance everything out. So 266 RAM on the needs slave chiller, yeah, absolutely. On the 125 strap, and for whatever reason, the multiplier has an off by 1 issue. So what I actually need is, oh yeah, 125 is good actually. I should look at my own score, I guess. So I've enabled internal PLL. I don't know if it does anything on this chip. The water cooling profile, so I've disabled OCP, or disabled as much of it as is possible. I do feel like I should mess around with the VRM frequency. I'm on the second highest load line because that's what the water cooling profile gives you. I have a suspicion it's probably still too high though. Like I should probably be on high. I wouldn't touch auto or regular or medium probably, but high or ultra. Extreme I wouldn't touch for ambient either. Yeah, and I'm obviously, oh, this is still, yeah, I should probably enable that. And obviously down to 2 cores, hyperthreading disabled, all of the devices disabled, 1.6 V core, because I have the cooling and I only have 2 cores enabled, 1.45 SA. I'm not seeing in the current arrangement of RAM, I'm not seeing any scaling above 2.2 on the VDIM. I haven't set VTTs manually, that's just a bit too try hard on quad channel. What was the other thing? Yeah, I do wonder what the other, like these things do. I don't really know. You kind of want extreme OV enabled because that allows you up to 2.2 on the VDIM, I think, is the important part. I wonder what it allows in terms of VCore. 2.1. Yeah, not doing that. And temps, so I've got KPX on there. It's currently 24 on the chiller, 32 on the core. That's not too bad. Let's boot into OS. I am using the Wanted OS that people recommended for X58 during Team Cup. I feel like 1C idle. That's too cold. I feel like that would be a decent-ish OS to have. Can we catch the boot? No. So one thing about Wandered OS, it sits on this like navy background for a long time, but I feel like still not as long and as annoyingly as Parika OS, that has that like weird text across the screen for ages. So this is the comp background set. I'm not doing olive theme or anything. I'm just running with whatever wanted baked in there. And you know, obviously here's 2.15 with that bugging, but here I have an older one ready for the Waza lesson. I'm probably going to fail miserably. So here's like the true RAM. Here's the RAM tab that you need to be comp valid, the 2.15. So 1.99 works well. So now I'm watching LOL. So what this OS does, it gives you an ERAM and it gives you a 2 ERAM folder. I'm going to delete the DAT files. You know about that, right? Like that can give you a not exact if you, depending on what's in these DAT files from the previous run, you want all that clean. PyData is fine. Run is just a batch file. But here's SuperPy. Event log service, yeah. But maybe that gives you better efficiency. So what I'm gonna do is, my run is an what is it? Let me tidy up a bit here. So these are all old runs, old run. I believe this is my fastest completed run. So I'm going to do the old trick of setting it as desktop background. So now what you see and I'm going to move the icons. The completed run you see here is an a RAM drive run. I'm going to do all the kills and everything manually. There's obviously other ways of doing this. Affinity on the second core, kill explorer. That's probably all I really need to do. I'm trying to think. 39 is fine. Okay. I always look at I do a few 16Ks. You know what a 16K is, right? Ask if you don't. Wait for it to go to 78. And then page down is the easy way of selecting 32M. I don't know. Some people might be tempted to mouse wheel or drop down. No, the bencher's way is page down. And you immediately add 32M. And let's do a totally like vanilla virgin like 32M run with nothing applied and see what happens. It should be slower than the run that I have set as background. But I don't know, maybe it's faster. Maybe this OS is borked, who knows? It is faster. The init is faster. It's probably, init doesn't mean very much though, so it's probably going to slow down. Famous last words, I know. How is it faster? Oh my god. Hold the presses. There's no need for Waza anymore. You just raw dog it like this and it's faster. Surely it's gonna slow down at some point. What is going on here? I must have had like, I don't know. Yeah, you can bench on that OS, but you can bench on most OSs without a mouse, to be fair. Yeah, okay, the demonstration effect is definitely kicking in. Well, all that'll happen there is we'll set a new baseline. Like maybe I changed something else that I'm not aware of. I literally just loaded up the profile, but maybe this boot is like a lucky boot or something. It's not faster by a ton. It's 125 milliseconds. Tighter RTLs, yeah, could very well be. Where's a good place to put my chat on this view, because I don't want it over the loops. Let's try here. So has everyone recovered from Computex? Yeah, I'm not. That's the good point. Actually, I'm not setting manual. RTLs. I don't know why I have postcode up. It's probably totally redundant. Like, why do you need postcode in OS. It could be some OSs like background set as well. So well, it had background set before, but anyway, the consistency, like this is actually a good demonstration because it demonstrates that there is a bit of randomness, not randomness, but in a few things, like a few factors that you can't really control and that change your score. But as long as it's boot to boot, you know, if within this boot now the RAM disk is slower than this run, that would be kind of weird. Not unheard of, but just a little bit weird. So what are we at now? We're like, yeah, still 170 or something faster. 24. Yeah, it's more towards the 200 millisecond faster now. But yeah, page down. Page down is the way to go. Oh yeah, and what I need to still set up is the way I used to have it was. If I go here, and then oh, that's not what I wanted. I used to like have that on the side while I'm in the browser. Something like this. Not exactly correct, but that'll do. Where are we at? Loop 13. Okay, cool. So yeah, the audio interface is new as well. Hopefully, all the settings on it are sane. The cool thing about it is, I was mentioning this to other people before. Why is it? I thought I had this adjusted such that it's the same width, but obviously not. This will be just like Computex, where I was trying to arrange the three competitors' windows live on stream. Why none of these none of these pictures are actually like a good size? Yeah, so the nice thing about this is the independent headphone outs. So you can obviously split headphones as I was about to say as often as you want, but actually eventually since the power is drawn from the port, you probably can only split a headphone port once safely. But here you have two independent headphone outs, which is really cool for like co-casting next year. My previous audio interface already had two mic inputs, so no worries there. You could attach two mics and have a mic per caster instead of having to like crowd around one mic or shout or whatever. But this has now like two empty spots, like for interviews. I don't know if I'll ever go up to four mics, but it's there. But then the two independent headphone outs, I think is pretty nice because everyone's hearing is different, right? And I believe in software, there's no knob on the thing to change this, but I believe in software you can also adjust the mix independently of the two headphones. So like if someone wants like to be listening to, I don't know, these are just wild sort of ideas I'm coming up with on the fly. But if theoretically, if you had two casters and one wanted to listen to music while casting and the other one didn't, then you could actually in software mix their headphone out such that the music plays through that out, and the other headphone out such that none of the music is mixed in, or maybe at a lower volume. So yeah, that you can adjust the mix, and then obviously the final mix, the volume of that can be adjusted with this little knob. So that's pretty cool. It's got like MIDI ins and stuff as well, but I'm never going to use those. But I could have gone like one category higher, but then it gets bulky. And this is actually the largest USB-C. I go back to the main view because we're about to finish. The largest USB-C audio interface that Steinberg makes that can still be fully powered by USB-C. It doesn't need a brick. Brick is optional. Like there's an in for the brick, but there's no. You see how there's like an extra input here for power, but there's no. Oh, it did end up slower. Look at that. The big RAM disk like pop isn't there at the end, right? Because this is a raw dog run. Should I save it as a reference? I guess I should. I won't set it as background or anything, but so I'll save this as a reference. So this is, where did it go? Up here. This is the raw dog. And now next we're gonna do a non-raw dogged. So okay, so that was like the new version, right? So now, since ERAM is like a different type of storage, there's certain effects on the bench by having the actual bench mark. Like, see how there's the benchmark right here in the RAM disk. So what I'm going to do now is copy, and then there's a there is, I thought there was, yeah, so there's here, this leads to here, right? Like, believe me, let's show it to oh, it actually doesn't. Okay, I run okay. Let's run. Let's just not get confused with the different executables. I'm now in Z. See how Z is mounted, like it's a mounted RAM drive as a separate, like, it appears as if it were a separate like drive. I'm going to go into that drive and I'm going to run the executable from there, and then I'm going to rekill Explorer and all that, and we should see a faster run. Please, the universe, give us a faster run. Yeah, it's all good. And I always pause a bit. That's just how I do things. Screenshot in the taskbar, that's for noobs as well. Second to flash drive. No, I don't attach flash drives. That fucks with your efficiency in some benches, and it causes trouble with drivers and things. I've never say never, right? But I don't think I've ever actually lost a yes, exactly, MS Paint. I don't think I've ever corrupted a. I mean, I have corrupted a screenshot in the sense that the system was so unable. It was so the system was so unstable. It was unable to create the screenshot in the first place. But a screenshot that was saved and a valid file, like an uncorrupted file, I don't think I've ever lost that. So no point in saving it twice, or any of that fancy shit. So now we're at 200 milliseconds faster. You lose stuff all the time. I don't know. I over sandbag sometimes, but I don't think I ever lose anything. Yeah, corrupted, but corrupted, that is upon creation. Like, the system is so heavily overclocked that it's not able to actually draw out, like, to save the disk the physical, like, pixels. That's different to, like, corruption after the fact, you know. So I think the run is, like, essentially the same speed as it previously was, but now we should hopefully see a pop at the end. Yeah, I don't know. I think that, like, for the 8G stage, it kind of made sense to have a capture card, but I think capture cards are sort of asking for more trouble than they're, like, solving in a lot of ways. I mean, for streaming, great, but for actually benching, like, I prefer to have my HDMI go straight into my gaming monitor, basically my benching monitor. So where are we at now? So about 300 milliseconds. yeah, but fun things ahead, basically, in terms of I'm already enjoying this thing. I like my new camera. What else the hell? How the hell? Excuse me. How the hell is it 9 p.m. already? I thought I was gonna fall asleep at 5. Now it's 9. What happened in the intervening hours? Pictures folder. No, I don't like going to like save stuff in my documents or the videos folder or the pictures folder. I'm never. I mean, I would eventually find that, but certainly wouldn't be the first place I'd look. So now we're like 500 milliseconds up, something like that. Who in chat is, besides Matt, who in chat is actually benching this comp or planning to? 358. So now we're like half a second up. Getting closer to 600 milliseconds. A sub 100 for a black edition. Well, you won't find that in Australia, that's for sure. I paid 300 Australian for mine, and it was like fair price, you know. It wasn't a deal or anything, but I really needed a second board because this one doesn't do below minus 100 anymore. I don't think Yoss has X79 chips, does he? He would have like the Xeons probably, but not an actual legit K-SKU that's too mainstream for him. I could see him. I think he participated in that X265 dogpile, DDR3 only dogpile, and that required quite a few Xeons on X79. I feel like he probably had some. But K-SKU doesn't seem likely. Okay, so now we're legit at plus 700, or plus sounds like it's slower. A 700 millisecond gain over the previous run. So what are we at now? Now it's like 800. This could be over a second faster. That's for sure. Yeah, it's close. Yeah, with the final loop, always pops. I mean, it can pop negatively or positively, but it always seems to pop. So, yeah, I think it'll be over second. Yeah, call it. So, any more questions about RAM drive? So it gets you a second, let's say. I mean, I don't know if it really consistently gets you a second every single time, but you know. Why is Team Cup still here? Where is... So now I'll do a legal screenshot of this. So we need a memory tab, a fake memory tab, a real memory tab, all that good stuff. Prioritize the memory tab so Matt doesn't blow his lid. There you go. I've even put the real and the fake tab next to one another. There we go. Beautiful. So this is not the raw dog anymore. This is now RAM drive. So now let's go. I'm curious. I might not finish this run, but this can stay. I'll run via the run.bat. What was in that again? I'll just refresh my memory. I don't think these tools are installed, so it's going to fail on some of these. So this is like a scripted Waza. Let's see how this goes. Does it launch SuperPi at the end? I didn't check. I can always launch 32M like SuperPi in the background. Let's see how it goes. There you go. Okay, I'll just double check affinity and priority. Yeah, it does auto set them, but you know. What did we have? A 4.4 flat, wasn't it? See that? That's a Waza. Any questions, Matt? Just use the wanted OS and press the run.batch and away you go. Sub 18 on loop 1. That's Waza. There you go. That's all it is. That's the first sub 18 I've seen. I've run like 30 runs on like 5G. Intentionally without Waza because I was still working on that. But here's the built-in Waza that the wanted OS has, which is just a batch file. But we can certainly, I don't know if I'm motivated to do a fully manual Waza where you're actually with your mouse and keyboard manually copying around files. But that would be, if executed correctly, it would just be the same as this batch file just did. I need 17 milliseconds faster for first. Is that it? Or just for EPing? Let's have a look. Oh, League has subbed on, and no, it's his test score. 1 hour W prime score. Okay, great. Why is this scroll so big? I don't understand. Oh, to beat Quen. Oh, to beat you. Okay, fair enough. But I'm doing flat 5Gs. You're at 554. So no more talk about benchmated runs being faster, eh? So I can compare, but like my actual subbed run isn't that much slower than the run we just produced on the RAM drive. So here, loop 10 just came out. So we're 2 seconds up at loop 10. Okay, let's watch the run finish in all of its glory. Yeah, still 2 seconds up, but we're trending towards 3 seconds up now. What I'll do next run, I won't finish the run, but I'll maybe go a little bit further into the mechanics of what the Waza is doing. But this is it. This is a Waza. This is like you can see the change, right? Like the loop 10 used to be a 2 minutes 40 point something. Now it's a 2 minutes 30 low 38s. It's clearly, I mean, I haven't gone up a single like 0.1 B clock, and it's doing this. But I might clear out. I'll clear out the RAM drive again, and maybe just I'll set this as the wallpaper once it's done, and maybe just do the first few loops again just to show that it's repeatable. But on the repeat, what I'll do is I'll like clear the RAM drive completely. I'll just recopy again, and then just maybe show where the shortcut leads, just so it's crystal clear that the shortcut won't launch unless the bencher the RAM drive empties out every boot, right? It's a RAM drive. You can't, RAM is not persistent storage, so you've got to copy that to ERAM folder to the RAM drive every boot. Yeah, we can look into that. There's strictly speaking, you can execute a Waza with just one drive, but there's no point in. I mean, you can do that if you somehow, like, if there was like a competition restriction, do not under any circumstances create a second partition, then you would still be able to do Waza. It's just a little bit more awkward. But like, you know, even XP, you know, it's so easy to make a second partition. It doesn't have to be a second physical drive. I don't know how this batch file is set up, but yes, it would most likely be copying either between partition A and B, let's say, on the drive, or it would be copying between a physical partition and the RAM drive, or maybe all three. Like, you can actually Waza between three partitions as well. I've seen it done, but like, you know, people get like, there's all kinds of weird stuff. Like Freddy Yama always waits for the hard drive activity light to stop blinking for his Waza. It's there's all kinds of timings and things. Yeah, you used to use two drives because, yeah, things were just different back then, and partitioning was more awkward and more error prone. But that's what Waza stands for, right? Like, Waza is just, we're actually almost 5 seconds up. Waza is just, as far as I understand it, the Japanese word for method. Like, it's a method of copying files around to get a faster run, right? So that is now, we were in the 629s. I'll compare it. I mean, I'll set the background briefly. Just I won't screenshot with the background set because that might annoy moderators. But I'll set it just for the purposes of the stream. So nothing changed whatsoever. Same boots, same everything, same RTLs. And we have pretty much a 4-second gain. Thanks, Sebi Copilot AI bot. You absolutely, I don't know, no, you don't absolutely need a second partition, but like, it just makes things easier, right? Like, why do you want to make things hard for yourself? Okay, so here's a comparison. Screenshot it, you know, put it on your wall, whatever. Now I'll. Does it go on that drive? Well, okay. You can do. Oh, there's all kinds of different Wazas. Let's see. Let's reset the comp. Okay. So now we go boom, 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 boom. I'm going to call this batch Waza. And will I set it as background now? I guess so. Okay, close all the CPU Zs. No. Come on, close this. Okay, so now, okay, I'll drag everything around, right? Okay, so for the purposes of, you see how this, you see this? This is the results of the Waza having been run. You see all these random temp files? They're just renames of the same file, right? So this is a 1 megabyte file. See, so the size of file being copied around is 1 megabytes. So this is like post Waza. Okay. Actually, oh, it could be the source of the Waza as well. Depends. Okay, let's look at the batch file then. I actually don't know offhand how the maker of this OS did it. So let's go edit. We do some usernet, do some explorer, some wahaha xc. Yeah, we copy from C to D. Okay, so the way that the person who built this OS chose to implement the Waza, that's not to say this is the only way for a Waza to work. The way that they chose to make it is they chose to Waza from C to D. All right? And then where we're running from is the RAM disk. So this is like, it's not really a 3-partition Waza, but it's a 3-partition SuperPI run, because we're Wazaing from C to D, but we're running on Z. Does that make some sort of sense? But just to point out, like, if for whatever reason D disappeared off the face of the earth, you could still Waza from C to Z and then run off of Z. I don't like that might make the Waza a little bit slower or whatever, but the Waza would still work. But this is just how they have implemented it. Is they do like all of this killing and shit, and then they do a four time copy Waza, and then they run SuperPI. The only thing with this is you've got a kill all. So what I'll do is okay. This might slow down the Waza or whatever, but what I'll do is I'll empty out the destination. I'll empty out the RAM drive. If using maxmem. What? Sorry, I don't. Well, what has maxmem got to do with it? Okay, whatever. Oh, it's because I'm looking at the bat. Okay. Right. So here we go. Right. We've got a C drive that obviously has shit on it. Right. We've got a totally empty D, which we're wazaing into. We've got a totally empty Z that we are running the SuperPI off of. So now I'm going to do the steps, but you should like already sort of know the steps. We need to have our SuperPI on the RAM drive on this OS anyway. Other OSs, it's a little bit different, but the way that this OS is set up, we need SuperPI on the RAM drive, or else the batch file will fail because there won't be any SuperPI to call once the Waza is done. So we get our 2E RAM, and you're free to delete this DAT file or whatever. But the important thing is that SuperPI is in there. So I drag 2E RAM to Z, copy, because we don't want to move it because the RAM drive disappears, right? We want this 2E RAM folder to forever live on the desktop, so we can keep on copying from it every single time we reboot. So now I've got 2E RAM here. I've got my SuperPI, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I've got an empty Waza partition here. And here they've kindly built a shortcut here, which leads to the RAM drive. So where I just copied. So this oh yeah, I'll actually just even show it, right? This shortcut won't run now because I don't have a destination for it. Okay, so you've got to copy your TERAM. Now we have run.bat, and I believe it sets the priority as well. Where is it again? Yeah, so real time, and then 1. The cores are counted up from 0. The first core will be core 0. The second core is core 1. So that's why I no longer have to set priority and affinity manually. it's because it's in this script file already, and it kills all. So what I'm going to do is close this. I'm going to run it, but then show you what it's doing, kind of. So I'll start the Waza. Sorry. It does require the directory to exist. Okay. My bad. Maybe it did. Maybe I did just delete the Waza files. I thought that was the destination. It's so easy, it's hard at this point. Oh, the Waza lives here. Yeah, okay. So we want. So you do need that folder, but that was there to begin with. I just deleted it because I was trying to be super clear. Now it actually just ended up muddying the waters. Okay. So run not bad. So now. See if I can show this while it's sort of happening. See how there's all these files now in D? Like that's what this copy did. And now it's launched SuperPy. So I'm actually curious to see how good or bad this run will be now. Or start off at least. I have to re-kill Explorer because I intentionally sort of restarted it. Yeah, I think this run is going to be hot garbage now because I futzed around with it too much. Recursive. No, yeah, it's not ideal. No, it's not. It's not meant to be ideal. This is not what I do when I'm like benching myself. It's just that I thought that this was good for demonstration purposes. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's just making everything even more confusing. No, you don't have to delete the Waza files at all. What I was trying to show, because Matt had questions, was that they appear sort of magically as the script is executing. That's all I was trying to show. Yeah, I'll try to show the tweak. So this run is largely the same, right? Do we all agree that this run is identical to what the run we just had? Like it's like repeatable, right? The Waza is repeatable. Okay, so let's close that. What else can I show? Oh, you know what's good? So now let's get to more like the principles of the Waza rather than the mechanics of it. So how do we do that? We go and we again run. But as the copy Waza is happening, so it's gonna kill. So I'm gonna have to start the batch and then immediately open a task manager. Okay, so now you see how this is fluctuating? That is kind of actually what the copies are doing. It's reducing the amount of available cache. So now, sorry, available physical memory. What you're actually aiming for is for this number to be the same as this number when you start your run. So what I should be doing is sitting like this, and now when they sort of mostly match, close. I don't want to overlap. Okay, and run now. So that is what I. So what I'm sort of getting at is, I'm a little bit too lazy to actually like physically kind of do the copies manually, but like essentially the order of operations for Waza is, if you aren't using tools and batch files or whatever for it, the order of operations is do the copy, whatever number of copies make a good Waza is like, that's a whole science, and size of copy and all that. Yeah, so you do the copy, then you launch SuperPy, then you check Task Manager for available memory equals cached memory, I guess is the name of it. Is this a faster run? It might be, you know. By a bit. So maybe that little bit of waiting helped. Oh yeah, SP tweaker. Ugh. That's gonna be fun. Okay, let's try to emulate everything using SuperPy tweaker. How do we do that? We go and I feel like I should probably, after all of those runs, clean my RAM drive. And now, what I would do with the tweaker is I would just raw. Actually, yeah, okay, we should be able to do it. Yeah, we should be able to do it. Raw dog the executable, and the tweaker's here somewhere. Yeah, okay. Tweaker. So now, since I'm raw dogging the executable, I do need to set priority and affinity. Oh, maybe not. Oh, affinity needs to be set. Separately, I can kill Explorer. Otherwise, we should be clean-ish. So now, with the tweaker, I would keep the task manager open at all times, because you're kind of monitoring as to whether the tweak is actually working. So SuperPy partition is Z, second partition is D. 1 megabyte should be fine. I usually do CDT, and then let's try 20. 20 is probably a good benchmark. Let's do the see how clean does your Waza directory clean like that? It's not mandatory. I don't know what burn does. Okay, now let's do a run. So are we all in agreement that like we have not yet Waza, like available and cache are 400 megabytes apart? That's just not. That means you're not Waza yet. So let's do a run and monitor. Nothing's really happened yet. Like the available has to drop in order for it to come back up. Like there's no such option as you're Wazaing by keeping available high. Like it has to go low first and then come back up. So I don't think that Waza did anything, but that's fine. We'll find another setting. Make it a bigger one. Let's try that. No. Okay, the tool sort of is not cooperating. So let's relaunch it. Yeah, let's do an 800, second partition D, CDT, even a 15. maybe a none. Okay. Give it a reboot. Oh, that's right. This version of Windows doesn't have reboot in the task manager yet. It's kind of fun. Oh, as I'm just sort of running out of steam myself. I hope that was reasonably clear. Like, yeah, if things don't move in the task manager, then you don't even have to do the run. The run will not be faster. AA. CDT, I think, is just a double copy. Ivy, I've never really messed with too much. Okay, so since we've just rebooted, our ERAM is empty again. So we obviously have to drop our to ERAM folder in there. Then let's try our tweaker again. I mean, honestly, on this OS, I would just be using the batch file, but let's try getting. I mean, if they dropped it onto the desktop, then it must even 10 should be okay. It must do something. Yeah, that didn't help. That didn't work. A second partition. Yeah, sometimes I sort of run tweaker runs on top of one another, and that can help, believe it or not. Am I misremembering this? Maybe C. Maybe it needs to stay on C. It is platform dependent though, like a lot of this stuff. What else could we try? Oh, we could. Yeah, on this OS, it's not. It's really not moving. You can also. The other thing you can do is. Let's try this. Let's try running off of here. I'll go non-CDT. But second partition should still be like that. Oh, that popped. You see that? Do you see that? Okay, so what are we doing? C to D, 1 megabyte, non CDT. Yeah, that could be quite a good Waza now. You're trying to find too much sense where there isn't. Like all you're trying to do is you're trying to reduce the amount of available memory. You know what I mean? Like the effectiveness of a Waza depends upon how how effectively it's like reducing the amount of available memory in order for that available memory to then get cleaned up and and become available again. That's the only way I can really describe it. See we're 60 milliseconds up. So how you go about it, it's like you're trying to go to the shop to buy a liter. Oh God, a liter of milk is the worst example ever because you won't know what a liter of milk is. You're trying to go to the shop to buy a 6 pack. Does it really matter that you went there on a unicycle? Like you got from A to B? You know what I mean? Like some people go C to D, others go D to C, others go C to C, others go Z to C. Like it doesn't really matter. Like the whole point of like there's like 2 degrees to Wazaing. It's like you have to have the Waza. See, the Waza was so aggressive now it actually caused a not exact, pretty much. Um, it should save the setting. I think I can retry. Um, like that's where the sort of art of it comes in. Is like, okay, now we have a working Waza. Now let's try to find a good Waza or an even better Waza, and that's the way you do that is by tuning the size of the Waza and where you Waza to and from, and what tools you use to Waza. So yeah, we had a. I think we had a. We had a. Yeah, we had a C to D. I think. Yeah, I better clean this because that was a not exact. So we had a C to D. And non CDT, 10 second sleep. I think that's what we had. Oh, of course, we want our task manager up because there's always a chance that. So see how super aggressive that was. I was like it dropped all the way down to 900. That's kind of. I was gonna say that's what you want, but the danger is that the Waza is so aggressive it causes like an exact or whatever. So now let's watch for both values to get close to one another. That's I'll wait for 5.5. Okay, there's 5.5. Yeah, so the you always have to. Is that a hang? No. You always have to keep in mind that different OSs are built for different purposes, and clearly whoever built this OS kind of intended people to run SuperPi off of the RAM disk, and intended for them to run the batch file, which expects SuperPi to be on the RAM disk, and intended for the Waza copy to run C to D with SuperPi on Z. But I was struggling getting the tweaker software to run just to demonstrate that. So I was messing around a bit, and instead of trying to sort of emulate what the batch file was doing, which is SuperPi and Z, Waza C to D, I relocated SuperPi to C and had SuperPi in C and still did a C to D Waza, and it's not looking fantastic, but better than our previous best. So that's something. And that's this is kind of the art that's lost with Benchmate now, right? But this is what people used to spend hours doing, like, because you're trying to balance out. Because you can imagine on all out on LN2, Wazas can cause instability and cause you to fail a run that would have otherwise passed. So it's like, what you really want is like the absolute last megahertz out of the CPU, but also then the biggest and fastest Waza possible. But the two are kind of incompatible, because if you're really squeezing the last megahertz out of the CPU, will you even have a stable enough system to figure out what the best Waza is? So it's a tricky sort of setup. So we're getting like 60 milliseconds, 63 milliseconds, nothing big, but considering this is all flat, like every single run has been flat frequency, not, I'm repeating myself, but not a single multi adjustment, not a single B clock adjustment, just the same frequency being booted over and over. And we're now at, like 100 millisecond gain across a pretty short 6-minute 25-second run. It's like in a way what you're asking, Matt, is like an impossible question, because it's like there is no end to how complicated you can make your Waza. Like some people, I don't know if they still do it now, but it used to be a thing where you would Waza onto like an M.2. Well, that's the whole point of Waza, is you can never understand it all. But like the key takeaway lesson is you have to see the RAM pop that I just demonstrated in Task Manager. Now, the thing is, you having Task Manager open, maybe that has an influence on the score, right? Like, so you kind of design, what you do is, the first time you do a Waza, you have Task Manager open and you have to see the pop, where it just like the RAM just kind of empties out, like it's just totally, there's no free RAM left anymore. You have to see the pop. Like I was doing like 4 or 5 different types of Waza there and I didn't see the pop, so it was like there's no point in even running. So once you see the pop, then you can go, okay, I'm now assuming that pop is happening and I'm not opening Task Manager at all. And now I'm optimizing at what point beyond the finish of the copy you actually run, because you have to wait a certain amount of time for the equalization of the cache and the available RAM, roughly speaking, so then like in a totally simplified manner, it's like you do Waza by whatever means, you see the pop, you go, okay, let's save this run, but it's not an optimal run because I've been just focusing on seeing the pop. Once you sort of know that the pop is happening, because every run is kind of repeatable and the same speed, you don't even have to look at Task Manager anymore, and you go, okay, so now we have a Waza that we're claiming is a good Waza. Now we're optimizing for at what point beyond the Waza we actually start the run. And for that, again, you can keep Task Manager open, but like the absolute optimal way is like the Waza, like the system is set to a certain set of parameters, and the Waza is of a certain size and finishes in a certain amount of time. So like ideally you'd repeatedly just every time be like, yeah, I start the run 7.6 seconds after the Waza completes or whatever, right? So then that then means that, if at the very beginning you had to have Task Manager open both to see the pop and to time the run, once you sort of sussed both of those things out, technically what you can or could, or some people do is you execute both the Waza and the timing of the run completely blind, based on prior experience or prior runs that you did that worked out well. Does that at least make some sort of sense theoretically? So we have 100 millisecond gain, right? What was that previous run? So the previous run is a batch run. This is now the first tweaker run. So the batch, you can still time the batch, but you can't tweak the size of the Waza. So we've kind of, oh no, we lost a lot at the end. So something's gone wrong there. But like, I think you can kind of see the potential. I'm not gonna, like, I'm really tired. It's 10 o'clock at night and I've got to get up at 7 tomorrow to work. But I think you can kind of see the potential of having that tool rather than the batch file, because you can adjust the size of the Waza. Do I have an F1 analogy? Right, so shit, you're really putting me on the spot here. So Wazas are kind of like the bendy wings that McLaren has. You know, like the degree of bendiness is infinitely adjustable, and if you do too much of it, you're illegal and you don't get a run out. You know, but if you don't do enough of it, then it's only a very slight thing. So it's like you've got all of these engineers working on the bendiness of the wing, but the bendiness of the wing, that's not just one value. It's not like it's very bendy or unbendy. It's like a 3D thing, right? Like there's both the speed at which, the rate at which the wing bends to begin with, and the rate at which it unbends, like at the end of the corner or whenever it happens, right? So that's kind of like the pop and the timing of the Waza. Like there's more finesse to it than just, do we have a bendy wing or not? Like it's a good start to have a bendy wing, because a bendy wing makes you faster in F1. That's why they almost banned it or tried to ban it or partially banned it, but then they worked around it. I don't remember the whole story, but like it's like 32M on most platforms with a working Waza of some description will pretty much always be faster than without a Waza. But then once you've kind of mastered that skill of getting a Waza working at all, then it's like, how much Waza? You know? And that's the same with the bendy wing. Anyway, I've blabbed on for about 2 hours now, so I really need to go to sleep. But this was, I hope this stream kind of achieved somewhat of the purposes of that it set out to sort of achieve. We've shown a few different things. What's that now? Kind of like setting up your car for different tracks. I wouldn't quite follow that analogy, because that would then imply that a Waza is, you know what, a Waza is, Wazas actually do help, depending on platform. They will help in PyFast, 1M, and some other things like that as well. So yes, like that would be different tracks, right? It would be like PyFast is Monaco, 1M is Silverstone, and 32M is like what do you call it, Nürburgring or whatever, right? The basics go a long way, and doing too much can hurt. And like the other thing, maybe just to point out, is that you can tell. So this part, the available real memory, that actually gets different platforms would be different tracks. No, different platforms would be different teams, right? Because different teams have totally different cars, and some cars maybe you can't put a bendy wing on at all, and that's kind of like some platforms are notoriously hard to get a Waza off on. X79 is not one of them. But yeah, so this real memory obviously is the amount of maximum that is set. Oh, maybe it's kind of obvious, but like without maximum set, I don't think you can really effectively Waza. Oh, I got you close enough. Oh, glad to hear that. So just to maybe state the obvious, I'm sure you could build a big enough Waza to Waza into like 32 gigs of RAM, but that's just asking for trouble. What you want is maximum set, which is its own science, right? I have like 6.4 whatever set here. You can Waza without maximum. I mean, I'm sure you could, but it just makes everything so difficult. If Z890 is F1, no, Z890 is a tricycle with a missing wheel. AM5 is F1. X79 is it's like one of these lying down type bicycles that look really weird. That's X79. Anyway, so these parameters, they're often blanked like in a benchmated run, like it's like minus or whatever. But yeah, first line will give you an idea of what maximum you have set. Last line is always constant because for like 32M always needs the exact same amount of RAM, right? If I were to run, let's just run 1M, you'll see a different amount of you see how allocated mem is less because it's a 1M rather than a 32M. Real mem is the same. Available mem, that is the one, that's the only one that really moves, right? Like if you're doing 132Ms, the first and the third will always be the same. But the middle one, at the very start of the run, so that's the other thing, is like you can kind of time the run two different ways. You can count on from the end of the Waza, or you could kind of like maybe ignore that and just do runs at different times and check what available real memory reading in the SuperPi bench gives you the best result, and then try to optimize for that. Yeah, I don't think I can make any kind of statement about whether high or low is good. That just depends on the platform. But anyway, we're fast approaching the 2-hour mark. I'm glad that. So maybe to come back to the streaming rig for a little while. It's odd because it's had this OCPing issue before, and then like for years didn't have it, and now it's had it again, and I've had to swap the PSU. That's really, really weird. It must be some weird thing going on with the PCIe slots or something, where I've just populated one more PCIe slot, and it's really, really odd. But I'm glad that it's sort of fixed. In terms of future streams, I have 100 liters here. Well, I bought 100 liters of LN2 prior to Taiwan, and I'm pretty sure like probably 5 to 10 liters have like now disappeared into thin air. But let's say I have 90 liters here. I want to do a lot of benching like on my own, just to get a feel for the platform. But possibly towards the end of the comp, sort of like 25th of June, something like that, I'll do an LN2 stream as well, depending on what bins of chips I have and stuff. Anyway, that's all things Waza, and the first Push the Hardware 4930K stream of this comp. Thanks for watching. I'm really tired now, but it's been fun. And until next time, while I'm using the wrong mouse to finish my stream. Okay, bye. Take care.